Now, this teaching is about the code of silence Jesus took under when he was being accused by the enemy, by the betrayer, by everyone who pointed their finger at the Messiah. He did not engage, he did not entertain, nor did he try to fight for his innocence. He remained silent. There is power in silence sometimes, and the reason why he stood silent, and I'm gonna show you the parts of what they did to him, and they accused him and they asked him things, and he remained silent through most of the whole way through. And the reason why he did that was because he's able to see behind who you are. He's able to see through the skin, through the pores, into your soul, and he sees who is inside operating through you. And he saw that it was no other but Satan speaking and operating through all these people in some kind of way. It was through the powers, it was through the principalities, it was through the authorities, it was through the dark forces, it was through the spiritual forces, it was through the wickedness in high places. High priestess, wicked high priestess in high places. You do not have to beware of the demons, the unclean spirits. It's the people Satan uses that operates through them. That's who you need to concern yourself with. Now the rulers and the captains were the captains of the armies. The rulers were the kings, the demonic kings and queens of the kingdoms. The principalities are the ones who have dominion over that region. And they were all operating through a demonic force. And so he paid them no mind, because all they were doing, it was just trying to have him engage, for he could surrender. And you can't fight evil with evil, so how you fight evil with good? You remain silent. They were going to try to take off his crown. He had a crown, and he told them, from this day forward, I will be seated right next to the Father. And when he said that, that's when all hell broke loose, and they tried to get him off of that seat. They tried to take him off of his position. They tried to take him out of his power, out of his authority. They tried to take off the crown off his head. They tried to take off the robes off of him. Yet he was a slave in the physical. He was a king in the spirit. And that's what everybody who was using their third eye saw. They saw, yo, we have to take this guy's crown off before he goes to the cross. And they tried to do everything they could to have him relinquish his power, his authority, his crown, his throne. And the way they did it in the most worst way ever. For he would not fulfill the promise and the covenant of the Father. He had his own people betray him. Judas, his own disciple, betrayed him and kissed him. And with a kiss, he came into agreement with the kiss, and that allowed everyone to come in through that door. The door was the kiss. He opened that door, and through it there was the high priestess, the scribes, the elders, and the soldiers ready to come storming in through that door. So beware of what doors do you open, What engagements? It's as simple as a handshake. The more intimate it is, the more you come into agreement with what they have for you. So you have to make sure that they are for you and they are walking with God for you. This is a teaching especially for my sheep to open their eyes. People were giving false testimonies against Jesus, but their testimonies were not consistent. He said, I will destroy the temple, and in 3 days I will build another made without hands. They took this word literally and they ran with it, and they called him blasphemous for speaking this. Which he meant fasting for 3 days, he would build up the temple in your body that way. Jesus stood silent. Jesus confessed. The only time he confessed was when they asked him if he is the Messiah, and he agreed and he said, yes, I am the Son of God. The high priest, in anger, tore his robes and said he was blasphemous. They began to spit on him. They blindfolded him. They beat him. They mocked him. They prophesied, who is hitting you now, while he was blindfolded. The officer struck him in the face. Peter denied him. Peter denied knowing Jesus 3 times. As you read the Bible, you will see it wasn't people speaking. It was Satan speaking through each and every one of them. No wonder why Satan is not mentioned in the book, because he speaks right through each and every one of us. Pilate knew that the high priests were jealous and envious, and that's why they had resent towards him for his position of power and authority. Pilate listened to the crowd and set free a murderer and crucified Jesus. He listened to the crowd and did what they wanted. And the crowd were yelling, crucify him. The whole crowd. Satan was speaking through the whole crowd. Soldiers mocked him and dressed him up as a robe and ranking officer and crowned him with thorns, saluting him and saying, all hail King Jesus. They mocked him. They pulled his hair, they spit on him, and they flagged him and whipped him. They tried to give him wine for pain, but he refused, for he can fulfill the covenant in heaven. Herod mocked him and dressed him up as a king. They stripped him and divided his garments, and they casted lots and gambled to win his clothing. The bystanders insulted him on his way to the cross, and even the ones next to him on the cross said, he saved others, but he cannot save himself, ridiculing him while he took his last breath. And all the Lord said was, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. For it was Satan speaking through them all. And that is why you must remain silent in the face of danger, in the face of your adversaries, in the face of your prosecutor, in the face of your enemies. Because they cannot hold anything against you, and you cannot fight. You cannot fight evil with good. You will only be ridiculed, mocked, and when somebody's stubborn in their ways, there's no way of consulting to them. It's best to remain silent, hold on to your crown, hold on to your robe, hold on till the last day of persecution. Trials and tribulations are coming. Hold on to your crown and robe and throne. Hold on to your position, hold on to your chair. God bless you all.